Hey guys, so welcome back to Indirect Knowledge. So it's right about 4:21. It's actually 4:21 exactly in the morning right now on the 7th of July. We have another tarot card reading that we're going to be doing. And this one is for, we will just, because she's got a very unique name, we'll just go ahead with the first initial K just to protect her privacy and everything. She's got a couple of questions here going on, and there's two questions actually, and relatively close in nature for both of the questions. So we'll just do a single reading to kind of get some perspective on things, and then do a yes or no question for the second question. Kind of get some perspective on that. So the first question, just to kind of give you guys some perspective here, is there's this person with the initial JH, and K wants to know, maybe there's some kind of karmic contract playing out. Once we get some more details, see what we can figure out with it. So let's get some perspective there going. Just going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put these out right now and just see what the cards have to say here. Okay, so with regard to the question, the past, it looks like Kay, that in the past, as far as this karmic contract, that kind of thing going on, the situation with the person with the initials JH, kind of the situation is this kind of winning at any cost. We have this card here. It's the Five of Swords. This is a card where, you tend to dominate, or you tend to come out on top most of the time. The only problem is that sometimes, winning is losing. So, in other words, the price of winning may not be necessarily worth the reward that you receive. This is stuff in the past, kind of maybe the way that we handle things in the past is this idea that we need to do whatever it takes to win, or that keep our focus solely on winning our goals at any cost, that kind of thing. The present moment, though, like where we're at right now with this whole situation, this is really interesting considering this person's name. It's the Three of Pentacles. So 3 is significant here. Pentacles are, some people refer to this as sort of a money card or wealth or things along that nature. But really, when we see Pentacles, what they indicate is materiality, materialism. They're indicative of kind of like sure-footedness, or being grounded. It's about resources, financial resources. They give us the ability to feel safe and secure, knowing that we have what we need to take care of our needs and our wants, even. The Three of Pentacles kind of represents a completion of a goal. So it's sort of like one thing has been checked off the list. It's basically telling us to make the most use of our talents as possible. This is about refining your skills, okay, the Three of Pentacles. It's also about profiting from what you're good at. And to do that, you can also rise above other people. So we're seeing kind of a pattern here, aren't we? We see the Five of Swords, and that's really this winning at any cost. It's about really, swords are also about the mental. So it's about, 5 is about change. So changing things mentally, dominating things mentally. We have the Three of Pentacles, and that's really about rising above others by becoming really the best at what we're good at. So good, in fact, that, we set a new bar, for others to have to compete against. That's kind of where things are at right now. And then we have this Seven of Cups card that comes up. This is the near future. thinking about 3 to 4 months out with this particular card. I'm kind of calibrated 3 months out so I can kind of get an idea oftentimes of where the energy is. We're looking at just past like maybe 3 months or so. So I'm going to say about 4 months out. Cups are about relationships. They're also about emotions. 7 in the tarot and stuff like that, 7 in numerology is often a very spiritual number, but this is also a wish card. So it's sort of like, it's about materializing things through our emotions, our fantasies. It's about getting caught up in our own dreams, that kind of thing. And that tends to be what will be in the next 4 months or so out. The answer card that we have is the 9 of Swords. The 9 of Swords is, some people refer to this as the nightmare card. This is actually an answer card, so this isn't anything that you really necessarily have to deal with per se. But the answer is like kind of waking up from your nightmare, or waking up from this thing that you have to understand. Nightmares are not real. They can materialize into real things if you impress them on the walls of your subconscious mind for too long. They can actually manifest and become real manifestations of your thoughts. Thoughts turn into things, right? Or experiences, or whatever you want to call them. So it's about taking the thoughts and birthing reality from them. This is telling us we don't have to do this. It's kind of like just accepting the fact that it's just a nightmare, that it's not real, and then being able to move on from it. The next card that we have is that energy card surrounding that 3 of Pentacles. We said the 3 of Pentacles is about setting a new bar, rising above things, refining our skills, making the most of our talents, that kind of thing, in order to create wealth for ourselves, or financial acumen, or just the sense of security through material possessions and things that we would like or need or want. The energy that surrounds that card, interestingly, almost ironically, is this 5 of Pentacles. Okay, the 5 of Pentacles is a 5. 5's about change, and in this case, it's about like, oftentimes it's sort of like maybe we've met a level of success, like with that 3 of Pentacles, but once we reach a certain level of success and all, what goes up comes down, right? Sometimes we're on top, sometimes we're on bottom. And sometimes we have good luck, sometimes we have bad luck. So it's this here polarity, this duality that keeps, cycling around and around. This is the time right now. This is like where maybe things are not so good. We're kind of out in the cold, or left out in the dark about things. But the thing to remember with this particular card is that to get here, you had to already experience a level of success, and this card is a reminder on how you got to that level of success. Because if you know how you became successful, you can just replicate your success again and again and again as many times as you want. You can build something new. If maybe your skills are getting a little rusty, maybe this is a reminder to really start to put those skills into use, and to look at things from that vantage point, and to be able to even capitalize even more on them. So that's sort of what that card's really telling us. Then we have the Queen of Cups. This is really kind of what you would like, or a card that is, I think of as sort of significant to you in particular. And this is the Queen of Cups. Queens are about influence. Cups are about relationships. You're the one that can influence a relationship. You're the one that has the power to do that. We know this also from other cards in the spread, like the very first card, for example, was the 5 of Swords. We said 5's about change, Swords are about mental, but this is also the card about winning at any cost. So this shows us that kind of the mindset here from the past. There's a pattern that kind of plays itself out a time and a time again. And in this particular case, we have the Queen of Cups. So it's about really being able to influence others in terms of their emotions. Cups are about emotions and relationships. So we can influence relationships, influence other people's emotions. We can empathize with people. That's one way of doing it. But just understanding how people feel and being able to capitalize on their feelings in order to create interactions with them, in order to create experiences with them, in order to influence them to do things and that kind of things. I'm not saying manipulation as much as I'm just saying influence. It's like a gentle push sometimes is all a person needs. And if you know the right buttons to push, you can get what you want from someone. And that's really what that is, where you're at with it. Want to know what the outcome is? That's coming up right now. So the outcome card is the Knight of Cups. Knights Knights are all about action. This particular card here, though, this is the Knight of Cups. So it's acting on emotion. It's acting on relationships. It's taking the lead. That's often what Knights do. Knights are really about movement. When we think of Knights, we think of movement, like moving things forward. Knights are indicative, almost representative of the wands. You know, we think of wands, we think of sort of that Leo energy, or maybe that Aries energy, things that have to do with like fire, these fire signs. And so it's about taking action, swift action normally. But, excuse me, but this here is about following your heart, going where your intuition guides you. That's what this movement is all about. It's about following, you know, so it's a very emotional card. So that's really where we're at. Now, let's look at this just for a moment in terms of, you know, this question of this karmic contract playing out. This is really a reading that's more telling us that, you know, a lot of the power or a lot of things that you perceive are really within your realm of control. You know, it's really a way of showing you the patterns of things that have affected you and your decision making in the past. And because ultimately, when we talk about karma, it's like what goes around comes around. And so it's sort of like, well, what is the likely thing to happen? We can know that pretty much based on our past actions, right? History has a tendency of repeating itself. But once we understand these kind of things, you know, we can actually change that reality moving forward. You know, we can start to have different types of outcomes and so on and so forth. So the next, so that's that reading, and I hope that does help you. In the next reading, what we're going to focus on is this yes or no question of, you know, does this JH have a physically abusive nature? Has this person ever hit a woman? And what can we get from that? So we're going to just do a yes-no question and just get some finality on it and see what the cards really have to say. So I'm just going to cut the cards now. Kind of shuffling the spots off of these. And see what we got. Oh, we got the cards right here. Wow, the cards have chosen themselves. These were 3 jump cards that came right out. Wow. So the first card that we have, these are going to be yes or no, but they'll also give us some more insight and information. So the first card that we have is the Nine of Pentacles. Gotta love this card, right? Nine of Pentacles is really kind of where we get to a level in life where, you know, we're pretty well set up. Things are good. You know, we can start to work toward leaving a legacy. This isn't quite the legacy card, which would be the 10 of Pentacles. But this particular card is really about just, you know, getting ourselves to a good position where we don't have to work as hard in order to manage our finances. Like, we've set certain things up for ourselves that are quite positive. And in that regard, this card is a firm yes. So a firm yes for this person not being, you know, someone that abuses women or anything like that. So it's not yes in the sense that he is, it's yes in the sense that he's not. Okay? That's kind of how this kind of a reading goes. So this would be, in other words, a no. So no, this person does not abuse women and doesn't hit women. That's what this card would tell us. The next card. So it's best out of 3, right? The next card is the Hanged Man. So this card is about seeing things differently, right? We may have ideas or thoughts about the way that things should be or could be or might be. It might be just impressions that we get. It could be like things that somebody says or just little nuances and things. And it might cause us to think differently about things and maybe not even see things exactly for what they are. Okay, some upside down thinking, so to speak. So in this particular case and all, again, it would be this person is not abusive to women and does not hit women. And so in this capacity, in this particular instance, it would be like also considered a no. So this person is, just from the best. So we've got 2 out of 3 already that say no. But let's continue. Let's look at the last one. So the last one is the Empress. I'll just say right away, this is another no. So this is about, this is a very feminine energy here, which is kind of what we're talking about. So we're seeing things differently. We have the 9 of Pentacles, which is about, being relatively grounded. Things are good. Might be able to afford a holiday without really worrying about finances, that kind of thing. Take a break from our job or our work or something like that. That's usually what the 9 of Pentacles has to say to us. The Empress here, though, this could be about fertility. It's definitely a very feminine energy. This is like, I always think of Mother Nature when I see the Empress. She's about nurturing our creation, nurturing us. It's very loving, very caring, and it's about having patience. So the lesson here, or the things that I'm really picking up is, no, this person is not a bad person, is in terms of, hitting women or abusing women or having that abusive nature. It's more about just having patience with the person, like, I think that's really what the key here is to take things kind of in slowness, just kind of embrace the process, don't try to jump to conclusions too quickly. Don't try to overthink things too much, but just kind of take it, let the person's actions in front of you kind of tell you what things are. I'm not really picking up anything hidden, like everything is pretty transparent, and those are the cards of transparency. So, maybe try and see things a little bit differently, or just kind of look at them, without really any preconceived notions, that kind of thing. Okay. And then with regard to the other thing, the other reading and stuff, this whole thing about, these two people, JH and KG, having some sort of karmic contract kind of playing out. This is what the cards really tell me, and this is what I pick up intuitively. It's just you need to look at kind of, the way that you've typically handled situations before in the past. Look at what the patterns are. The patterns are really the most telling thing here. It's kind of like how you deal with situations or how you look at things. If you can change that or kind of look at things at kind of a meta level, like in other words, imagine yourself looking at yourself within the scope of this situation and looking at it from a very objective person. You'll detach yourself from the situation, and that'll give you a lot more insight in terms of, what this, karmic contract kind of business is all about. Okay. And it's also going to help you maybe just kind of get a little bit more clarity or insight or perspective in terms of like, kind of where you're at with things, kind of like, kind of what your past behavior has been or your past actions have been, and what the likelihood is that would continue and that kind of thing. Because ultimately we're in control of our own futures, our own destinies, and kind of how things play out. Certain things attract us. Our natures are all quite different, depending on our makeup or our individual personalities and so on. And also based on what we want and the things that influence us. So the key is to kind of understand those things. And then once we understand them, we can push more favorable probabilities in our favor. Okay, so it's kind of a lot to say right there, but it's just basically kind of more or less create the reality that we want for ourselves. If we're dissatisfied with the way things have been, or we start to become more detached from a situation than what we have been in the past, this would be something that we could actually turn to in terms of help. We could get some kind of a perspective on things to help us move our life in a different direction if that's what we're seeking. If it's not what we're seeking, we can continue the same patterns as before and continue to get similar results. Or we can shift them slightly to get slightly different results. But it's really like you're the person in control of this whole scenario. And everything is about your perspective and how you look at it. So that's really what I'm learning, as far as this particular reading. That's what I'm really picking up. So I hope that helps. Guys, thanks for tuning in to Indirect Knowledge in this episode. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification if you want to get notifications every time we come on. Again, it's about 4:40. Well, it's actually 4:43 in the morning right now. And so that might be a little earlier than you want to watch the channel. Most of the time I do this more in the evenings and less in the morning time. But as a monk, we get up pretty early. And so we do our spiritual practices and different things and whatnot. And so this is one of my spiritual practices, which is really a service that I do. And to be able to do these kind of things and to share love for God, we rely solely on donations. And so if you want to donate, help the monks, you can go to helpbydonating.com and, give a donation if you like. We ask that if you do give a donation, you do it entirely from the heart. That's kind of a requirement for us. And if it's not in your heart to do so, then by all means don't. And then also, if you want a tarot card reading and maybe you can't afford one, or it's just maybe you've never had one before, you're a little nervous, or you would like to get some clarity or insight into some kind of a situation and all, you're more than welcome to email me at Chandra, that's my first name, Chandra, and the number 108@gmail.com. So Chandra108@gmail.com. So Chandra, the number 1, the number 0, and the number 8@gmail.com. Guys, I look forward to serving you guys in the future with more episodes here at Indirect Knowledge. If you have any questions or you need anything, please never hesitate to reach out to me. Much love, many blessings. I'll see you guys in the next episode of Indirect Knowledge.